Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. Hope you enjoy. Story number 1. They Are Coming, written by Ice Cream and Wine. The meeting of the United Nations, P5, was going well as usual. The British and American delegates were deep in conversation with each other, the Russian and Chinese delegates glaring at each other, the French delegate sulking because the other four had tired his incessant babbling about the cultural importance of Quebec. The dull roar of background noise ceased as a figure in green and yellow spotted vaguely humanoid-shaped alien materialized in the chamber. The Chinese delegate tried to stand up. He started to say, "Be silent. Be seated and be still." The alien waving his arm up a pedage. "No talk, only listen." None of the 5 delegates, nor their aides or support staff, could move or speak. The alien's speech was understood by all of them. "Who we are is unimportant," said the alien. "Observe," the alien said. A screen appeared in thin air. The screen played a montage of scenes of green and white spaceships, hundreds of different types, huge, large, small, and minuscule. The ships were engaged in a space battles above different planets. "These are the implacable, and they are coming. We do not know their real name. It is irrelevant. They appear in a system, consume all life, and then move on to adjacent systems. When I say all life, I mean all biomass is consumed. Then the planet is stripped of resources and left barren. We first encountered them over 27,000 of your years ago, and for the last 27,000 years we've been running. It seems that only a small fraction of them pursue us. The main body always sticks to the same path. That path will intersect with your system's orbit. They will discover and attack you. We estimate that you have 80 to 120 of your years before they arrive. In galactic terms, your species is nothing special, more imaginative than most, but average in everything else. They have consumed many civilizations that we know of, and probably many more that we are not aware of. Civilizations that were far ahead of you in development, armed with weapons, shields, and ships far outstripping what you possess, that availed them naught. Those who fought were defeated and consumed. Those who could ran, and as far as we know, are still running. I stand here to offer you information, the combined knowledge of dozens of species. This is all we can offer you, for when they arrive, we will be long gone. This is all we can do for you. We can offer you no strategies, no ships, no technology, no aid, just the information we have on the implacable. This information is in a form that you can retrieve and understand," the alien said. On the table on top of which sat 5 USB sticks materialized in the chamber. "These USB sticks, as I believe you call them, contains over 110 exabytes of information each. Use them as you will. Farewell." With that, the alien dematerialized. 5 delegates looked at each other, open-mouthed. The Russian delegate surged to his feet. "What trickery is this?" he shouted. The British delegate wandered over to the table and rapped his knuckles on it. "The sort of trickery that can fashion items out of thin air and nail us to our chairs, apparently," he said. He continued, "Each USB stick is resting on the flag of our 5 nations." He moved his hand. "Also, I can only pick up the stick resting on our flag." The other 4 moved to the table. If they tried to pick up differently flagged USB sticks, their fingers just passed straight through. "Well, that's the best damn trick that I've ever seen," said the American delegate, looking pointedly at the Russian delegate. The French delegate said, "I suggest that we take our designated stick and communicate with our respective governments as to what to do next." "Agreed," said the Chinese delegate, scooping up his indicated USB stick and vacating the room. The other 4 delegates looked at each other and followed suit. End of story. Story number 2. New Threats, written by Neil Lithy. "You know, for a human, you're acting more calm than we anticipated, despite the situation you're in." Interesting disclaimers for a human and despite the situation. So, you must be used to what? Crying? Milka's ears flicked for a moment. "Well, actually, yes. We usually get the smaller ones of your species, and they are quite distressed." Blue rubbed her temples, adjusting a circlet, holding back her hair. "Smaller. So you are not really a Weru. Let me ask you a question. Are you a parasite taking over that body, or was it grown for you to wear?" his ears flicked out in time with one another. A parasite in a host body. You have encountered such beings? Blue shook her head with a half smile. Oh, we imagine a few different scenarios. That your primitive minds can foresee such a thing is quite fascinating. How did you know that I am not Wuru? The human laughs as she pats her belt. Yeah, but this one is a bit slow on the list, you know. Taking a small metal instrument from her belt. See, a Wuru finding a spoon on my belt like this would piss himself, and would not leave it on me. Probably would have stripped me to the skin to be safe while I was still unconscious. His ears finally focused forwards, seemingly excited to learn something new. An eating implement is something the Wuru fear. The human laughter was light, almost musical. No. See, I was on leave traveling to see my brother and his new place. Met some of those wolf guys. May have had some words with their leader. Since then, I've been given a special chit to carry this little souvenir on my belt. It helps when dealing with Wuru and those that have faced them. No, the bit is Wuru have some common knowledge. We don't have smaller versions. Wilkes was baffled. But both of your species do. We have examined them outside and in. They are just smaller and weaker than the standard size of your units. Blue held the spoon by the bowl thoughtfully. So you know, my call sign is Wolf Hunter. Wilkes was twitching, barely having seen the human move, the handle of the spoon through its eye and into its processor. The human's words coming in as a growl. They are cubs and children, or just children of both species. The sound of explosions as the room shook, and my squadron is here now, so no more reason to be gentle. Deirdre Blue O'Shea, Lieutenant Commander of the Duck Dodgers Squadron, left the interrogation room. The sensor impressions of the fighters coming through her halo, the migraine coming from the controlling craft remotely, making it hard to keep her balance, rotate, lock, fire. A human in a lab coat rushes to reach her. He is taken by surprise as a spoon handle enters his ear. Then it becomes a blur as she staggers to the hangar. Her plane, half folding and putting thrusters on the deck and extending an arm to her. Once in the cockpit, she manually triggers the canopy and armor shield before pulling off the circlet named a halo. Pulling on a full helmet, the sensor input from her craft smooths out. The rest of the transformation to full humanoid and all the unease slips away. Yorktown skin jobs confirmed. End of story. Story number 3. Time for a Human, written by Drunken Turtles. Walking down the boardwalk, I noticed an elderly human sitting by the water's edge, a wooden rod in hand. Any other day, I would have paid no mind to the strange display from the strange humans, but my curiosity piqued, and the weather was nice enough to warm my blood. I approached the human, stepped off the sidewalk and onto the hot sand. Old human, why do you sit here? He looked back and chuckled. Come, sit next to this old man. Enjoy this moment while I fish my food. Catching your food? To save the time and effort, the local market sells sea creatures. I questioned his illogical motives while taking a seat on the towel he laid out. The old man placed his fishing rod in the tube lodged into the ground. Oh, you aliens, you get too caught up in maximizing your time. I am savoring the moment. That seems ridiculous. How do you savor something abstract? Perhaps humans had some strange sensual taste, but this one sounded nonsensical to me. He rubbed his white beard and wiped the sweat off his bald head, looking down at me. A smile grew across his face. Use both your hands, scoop up the sand, and don't let it slip through your talons. Just try. The old man instructed me. I did so, confused as to why I should try and hold sand. Naturally, all the sand, except for a few grains, slipped through my talons. Not wanting to be defeated by such a simple task, I did it again, and then again. By the 4th attempt, I looked up at him, feeling frustrated and puzzled. Why are you having me do this? Is this some exercise in futility? He laughed and then coughed a bit, clearing his throat. He explained, You could call it futile to hold the sand, but that's what you do with your life and your time. I tilted my head, still not understanding what the old man was getting to. If the sand is time, then the grains are countless moments that make up life. So many of us waste away trying to hold a few grains that our fingers can grasp. Few can see the full beauty of all those grains form. Now, look up and tell me what you see. I looked around. Well, a lot of sand, correct? He shook his head and gestured to the beach around us. Look again. Think. Something suddenly made sense to me, and an enlightenment of sorts watched over me. Grains. Countless moments. That's it, he chuckled, and placed the rod in front of me. Now you see the full picture. All those grains of sand that make up the stream we call life. Without thinking, I took a hold of the fishing rod. The heat, the warm sea breeze, and the rhythmic tugging of the waves on the line made this moment tranquil. Many fond memories of a younger, happier self that I'd forgotten flooded back into my mind. He placed a hand on my shoulder, and with the other held a drink humans call the beer. Take a step back and slow down for a bit. Start living right now. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons. Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Lord Azrakal, Dragzoon WRE, Holly's Sister, Ambrose Cattell, and Quantum Wednesday. Thank you very much.